Hello, this is Nick Carter, and you are watching Stories from the Battlefield. Let's set the scene. It's January 19th, 1991, and the skies over Iraq, they're basically a hornet's nest. Operation Desert Storm is in full swing, and two American F-15 pilots are about to fly headfirst into the most sophisticated aerial trap of the entire war. Today, we're going to break down, moment by moment, how they survived.
So that really brings us to the big question here, right? How do you fight an enemy you just can't see? This is the core problem facing Captain Cesar, Rico Rodriguez, and his wingman. They're about to get tangled up in a high-stakes chess match at supersonic speeds, where the enemy isn't just a plane in the sky, it's a ghost on their radar. Their survival is going to come down to skill, technology, and one critical call from a guy miles and miles away.
Okay, so we're diving into the mission over Iraq. On paper, it sounds pretty straightforward. Clear the skies. But the reality? It's anything but. Rico and his wingman are the tip of the spear. They are the only thing standing between waves of Iraqi fighters and a massive American strike package heading straight for Baghdad. And yeah, they are heavily outnumbered.
All right, let's break down who we're talking about here. In the cockpit of the F-15C Eagles, you've got Captain Rico Rodriguez and his wingman, Captain Underhill. Their job is massive: protect a huge formation of 36 F-16s. And the threat? At least two pairs of Iraq's best fighter, the MiG-29 Fulcrum. Watching over it all, kind of like the eye in the sky, is AWACS controller Mark White. So yeah, it's two F-15s against who knows how many MiGs, with the success of a major bombing run hanging in the balance.
So this whole thing kicks off not with a missile, but with a tiny blip on a screen. You've got two groups of fourth-generation fighters closing in on each other at incredible speeds. But the Iraqi pilots aren't looking for a straight-up dogfight. Nope. They've got a plan. A really clever tactic designed to frustrate and confuse the American pilots. And honestly, it's a tactic that would change aerial combat for years to come.
So right as Rico's own radar gets a sniff of the MiGs, another system just lights up like a Christmas tree. On his screen, the number 29 pops up. That's his radar warning receiver, or RWR. You can think of it like an electronic sixth sense. It's screaming at him that an enemy MiG-29 has its radar locked right on him. He's being painted by the radar beam, which is usually what happens right before a missile comes off the rail. The game has officially begun.
Rico gets a lock on one of the MiGs. He's ready to go. But then, just as he's about to make his move, poof, the contact on his screen just vanishes. The lock is broken. The enemy is gone. Now, what's really fascinating here, the absolute key to this whole trap, is how they disappeared.
So what the heck just happened? Well, the Iraqi pilots were absolute masters of this incredible technique called notching. See, the F-15's powerful Doppler radar is built to filter out stuff on the ground that isn't moving, what pilots call clutter. It does this by basically ignoring anything with no relative velocity. By turning their jets to fly at a perfect 90-degree angle to the F-15's radar beam, the MiGs tricked the system. To the F-15, they looked like they weren't moving at all, so they got filtered out. The MiGs would just pop up, get locked, then notch and disappear, always keeping that perfect 12-mile distance. They were literally toying with them.
You can just imagine how frustrating this must have been for Rico. This back and forth, this radar cat-and-mouse game. He could feel they were being led somewhere, dragged deeper and deeper into Iraq. He knew it was a tactic, but what he didn't realize yet was the true, sinister purpose behind it all. This wasn't just about avoiding a fight, it was about leading them to their doom.
And then, bam! Rico's RWR doesn't just show a couple of MiGs anymore. It absolutely explodes with new signals. He's looking at an entire field of S-125 Neva surface-to-air missiles, the main air defense for Baghdad. The MiGs weren't just pulling them along, they were dragging them into a killing field, a dense sand belt designed to swat jets out of the sky from the ground. The trap was laid, and they were flying right into it. And this, right here, is the moment of truth for Rico. He has a choice to make. Does he turn tail and save his own skin, but leave that huge F-16 strike package totally exposed to the MiGs? Or does he push forward, right into the jaws of the trap, to protect them? He makes an incredibly daring call. They're going to hold their position, deliberately flying towards the SAMs to keep the MiGs busy until the F-16s are clear. This was a calculated risk of the highest possible order.
And here is where the Iraqi plan gets really clever. Because see, they knew the Americans would see the SAM sites. They were counting on it. That missile field, the most obvious and terrifying threat, it was just layer 1 of the trap. It was designed to fix the F-15's attention straight ahead. while the real danger was sneaking up from the side, completely unseen. Think about it. While Rico and Mole are laser-focused on the two dancing MiGs and the wall of SAMs right in front of them, a third MiG-29 is screaming in from their left flank. And here's the critical part. He was flying with his own radar turned off. That made him a ghost, totally invisible to the F-15's radar and their RWR. He was a silent hunter, closing in for the kill, and they had absolutely no idea he was there.
So the ambush is perfectly set. The F-15s are flying straight into the jaws of the trap, completely blind to the missile that's about to be fired at them. Their survival now hinges on the only person who can see the whole picture, AWACS controller Mark White. And by protocol, he wasn't even really supposed to be watching them anymore.
Okay, so from his console, Mark White is watching this disaster unfold in slow motion. At 18 miles, the third MiG is well within missile range. No reaction from the F-15s. 16 miles, still nothing. White has to make a choice. Break protocol and maybe distract them, or stay silent and watch them get shot down. At 14 miles, he can't wait any longer. He keys the mic. Pop-up contacts, 330 degrees for 13 miles. That call, it saves their lives. Rico instantly yanks his F-15 towards the threat, and there it is. A bogey appears on his radar, just 8 miles out.
The second Rico turns, the game is up. The Iraqi pilot knows he's been spotted and immediately flips on his own radar, and Rico's cockpit just erupts with alarms. The words, "I'm getting spiked," that means an enemy has a solid missile lock and is seconds away from firing. The trap has been sprung, and Rico is caught right in the crosshairs.
So now Rico is in this absolutely impossible position. He's got a missile lock on him, it's coming any second, but the rules of engagement, they say he has to visually identify any target inside of 10 miles before he can shoot. This is to stop friendly fire, especially with stealth jets like the F-117 flying around. So what do? Follow the rules and probably die, or fire back and risk hitting one of your own? There is just no time to think. Rico immediately inverts his plane, yanks the stick, and dives, pulling insane Gs and dumping out chaff, these little strips of metal foil meant to confuse enemy radar, to try and break the lock. As he's plummeting towards the desert floor, his wingman Mole gets the word from Intel. The target is confirmed hostile. He's cleared to engage. Mole hits the button. Fox 1. An AIM-7 Sparrow missile just leaps from his F-15. Rico sees the smoke trail streak right past him and follows it with his eyes, all the way to the MiG. The missile hits square on the nose, and the enemy jet just disintegrates. Splash 1. So, the ambush is foiled, which is incredible. But this fight, it is far from over. The AWACS calls out another MiG, this one 10 miles to the north. Their job protecting the F-16s is done, but this new threat is way too close to just ignore. The battle is about to shift from that long-range electronic chess match to a classic, close-quarters dogfight, where it's all about pure skill and gut instinct.
Rico locks onto this new target, but then, something really chilling happens. Mole calls out over the radio that his system is flagging the contact as a friendly. A little diamond symbol pops up on his scope. For a split second, there's just this cold dread. Did they make a terrible mistake? But Rico is certain it has to be another MiG. He has to prove it though, and that means getting dangerously close.
So Rico just slams the throttle to full afterburner and rockets toward this bogey. He pulls up and just roars past the other jet. So close. I mean, so close he was within 50 feet of him. He could almost see the pilot's face. In that fraction of a second, he gets a perfect look at the top of the aircraft, green camo with a big Iraqi flag painted on the side. It's a MiG-29. The confirmation is made and the dogfight is on.
And what happens next is just a brutal, turning, twisting fight. Rico immediately inverts and pulls back hard on the stick, trying to cut inside the MiG's turn. He's slammed by 10 Gs of force. I mean, that is literally 10 times his own body weight, crushing him into his seat. This is pushing both him and his F-15 to their absolute physical and structural limits, spiraling down towards the desert floor in this deadly dance where one tiny mistake means it's all over.
All right, so this is it, the final moments of this unbelievable duel. They're spiraling through the sky, trading altitude for speed, and both pilots are just fighting for that one perfect shot. Rico can feel he's got the edge, but they are running out of sky and time fast. As Rico yanks the F-15 through another crushing 10G turn, he finally gets the Fulcrum in his sights. He selects a Sidewinder missile, a heat seeker perfect for this kind of close-in fight. But the Iraqi pilot sees it coming. In one last, desperate move, he shoves his nose down and dives straight for the ground. He tries to pull up at the last second, but it's not enough. The MiG-29 slams into the desert sand. That's Rico's second victory of the day.
Those 2 kills, plus another one he had, would make Cesar Rico Rodriguez the top American MiG ace since the Vietnam War. And most importantly, both he and Mole made it home.
So when you look back at this entire insane engagement, you really have to wonder, what was the thing that truly made the difference? Was it the F-15's superior tech? Was it the incredible teamwork between Rico, Mole, and that life-saving call from Mark White on the AWACS? Or was it just the pure raw skill and guts of a pilot like Rico, willing to fly into a trap and pull 10 Gs to win? I'd love to know what you think was the most decisive factor. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this explainer, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching.